Recently, an Instagram post went viral. There's a couple in Gurgaon, both are working. Their combined salary is around 3 lakh rupees per month. Mid 30s, good jobs. They went viral not because of their salary, but because they were not planning to have kids. Not now, not tomorrow, but forever. And it isn't because they hate children. It's because they sat down, opened a spreadsheet, and ran the numbers. When the internet read this, as always, it got split into two teams. Team 1, oh, they're smart, good for them. Team 2 was, oh, they're so selfish, anti-family. And some went ballistic by saying, बुढ़ापे में तो कोई पानी भी नहीं पूछेगा. But did you know what nobody did? Nobody actually calculated the cost for having a baby. So I did. For 3 weeks, all of the data, all of the receipts were compiled, and what I found was not what I expected. Hi, I'm Arunima, and you're watching How Bizarre. So let's begin. Before we get into the calculation part, we need to understand the 4 stages of Indian households. First is SINK, one salary, no children. That's in fact the majority of Indians in their first few years of marriage. Then comes DINK, dual income, no kids. I love these names. There's a couple, there are 2 salaries but no children. That's our Gurgaon couple. And honestly, this is the most money efficient stage. Then comes the story of the majority of Indian couples. SIWK, single income with kids. This is what happens when one partner, almost always a woman, steps back from work after a baby arrives. Financially, this is the most stressful of the 4. And at last there's DIWK or dual income with kids, where both the people earn and have kids. This is what you'll most likely see either in corporate driven metro city families or people who have to work 24/7 just to survive, like your house helpers, city maintenance workers, etc. Now, let me be very clear right at the beginning. A child is not a commodity. Bringing a life into the world is one of the most profoundly human, beautiful experiences one can have. But love doesn't pay the hospital bills. So today, we're going to do what nobody at your family dinner table wants to do. We're going to strip away all of the emotion just for a few minutes and calculate how much it actually costs to have a baby in modern India. Now, most people think the cost calculation starts at birth. No. The meter starts the day you see 2 pink lines. Let me walk you through a full pregnancy, trimester by trimester. First trimester, pregnancy kits, blood tests for hormones and thyroid, early ultrasounds, there are level 1 scans, NT-NB scans for Down syndrome, and prenatal vitamins. These are all part of the prenatal care. Now, if you were to calculate all of these costs and add it up, in a metro city, this would cost anywhere between 7,000 to 22,000 rupees. Now, cut to second trimester. This is the heavy scanning phase. There are level 2 anomaly scans, color Dopplers, oral glucose tests, more doctor consultations. The second trimester adds another 12,000 to 33,000 rupees. Now we're at third trimester. That means more growth scans, booster shots, hemoglobin injections if they needed, plus pregnancy pillows and prep. That's another 9,000 to 36,000 rupees. And if you add a few prenatal yoga classes and maternity clothes, you're spending another 8,000 to 30,000 rupees. Then comes the delivery. If you're an urban professional, you're going to a private hospital. And here's the reality check. India's C-section rate in private hospitals is massive. So statistically, you're looking at the higher end of that bill. And on top of that, you'll have to add postpartum checkups, newborn vaccines, and lactation consultants. So, what's the total cost for a premium urban pregnancy journey? Anywhere between 2.5 lakhs to 5 lakh rupees depending upon what luxuries you choose. Now, I know what the finance bros in the comments are typing. Arunima, health insurance kis din kaam aayega? Yes, maternal health insurance exists. There are policies like Star Health which offer maternity coverage too. But here is the nuance. Maternity cover usually comes with a waiting period of 9 to 24 months. What that means is you have to take the insurance at least 2 years before the day of delivery, and it also has a lot of hidden sublimits. So it helps, yes, but it rarely covers the full cost. You're still heavily paying out of your pocket. And abhi to bas bacha paida hua hai. Welcome to parenthood. Now open your wallet. Let's talk about vaccines. The government's universal immunization program provides vaccines for free, but urban parents usually prefer private hospitals, and over there, the billing starts really fast. At birth, it's actually pretty cheap. The BCG injection, hepatitis B dose 1, and oral polio drops will totally cost about 200 to 500 rupees. But exactly at the 45-day mark, that's when reality hits. Your baby needs DPT for whooping cough, IPV, rotavirus, and PCV for pneumonia. Private hospitals will usually give you a choice. You can do the traditional separate injections, which are known as the painful variants. Or to save your newborn from multiple pricks, you can opt for the premium painless hexavalent combination shot. Almost every urban parent chooses the combo. The cost of that single 45-day visit, 2500 to 4000 rupees. And you have to repeat this exact same visit and exact same bill at 10 weeks, then again at 14 weeks. Then comes a flu shot at 6 months for up to 1500 rupees and MMR at 9 months for 1000 rupees. If you follow the full private schedule, by the time you complete their booster doses at age 5, your total vaccination bill easily hits 30,000 to 50,000 rupees. Now, diapers. Because nobody actually calculates this, but the math is just insane. A premium diaper costs 12 to 15 rupees. A newborn needs on an average 8 a day. That is roughly 3600 rupees per month. Most babies need them for about 2.5 years. That is more than 1 lakh rupees on diapers. Then you have the silent budget killers. If you use premium baby formula, organic purees, and specialized nutrition drinks, food costs easily hit 50,000 rupees to 1 lakh rupees. Babies outgrow their clothes also really fast. And if you add the upfront capital for a crib, a car seat, a stroller, and baby proofing, all of the gear expenses easily take up another 1.25 lakh rupees to 2.5 lakh rupees. Then here's the real blow: daycare. If both parents want to keep their jobs, remember we're talking about DIWKs here, you need a reliable, safe, branded play school or a creche in your city. What is the cost of that? Well, it's about 10,000 rupees to 25,000 rupees a month. Over 3 years, you're paying 4 to 10 lakh rupees just so someone can watch your child while you go to the office to earn the money to pay for that daycare. And let's not forget the gaps or periods of time in between. Daycare is closed for public holidays, summer breaks, and whenever your child has a fever. So many working couples end up paying for a part-time nanny or a babysitter just to cover these gaps, and that adds another 50,000 to 1.5 lakh rupees. If you throw in weekend entertainment and indoor soft play areas, that meter just keeps running. When you add all of this up, the total cost of raising a child in an Indian metro for just the first 5 years, that number safely lands between 9 to 15 lakh rupees. And remember, this is before formal schooling even begins. Then school starts, and this is where the Indian middle class is getting absolutely destroyed. The Ministry of Statistics, or MOSPI, just released their comprehensive modular survey on education in August 2025. According to the government, the average household expenditure for a student in a government school is just 4,000 rupees a year in urban areas and just 3,000 rupees in rural areas. That sounds completely manageable, right? But wait, if you move to a private unaided school, that number jumps to 36,000 rupees in urban areas. I mean, let's be real, our Gurgaon couple isn't just paying the national average. Metro city parents are competing for top tier private schools. In fact, let's look at the actual fee structure of DPS RK Puram in Delhi between 2023 to 24. Admission fee 35,200 rupees. Annual tuition fee 1,38,000 rupees. Annual charges roughly 37,000 rupees. And if you want your kid to take the school bus for just an 8 to 15 kilometer distance, that's another 51,700 rupees a year. You are looking at over 2.2 lakh rupees just for year 1 for a nursery student. And guess what? That 2.2 lakh rupees is not a fixed EMI. Private school fees hike by 10 to 12% every single year. Let me show you what the 10% compounding actually looks like. If you're paying 2.2 lakh rupees today, in 14 years, when your child reaches class 12th, that exact same school will charge you over 7 lakh rupees for a single academic year. And that's not even them upgrading to a fancy international board. It's the same school, just the same building, but getting older. The same MOSPI 2025 survey highlighted that nearly a third of all urban students, 30.7%, are taking private coaching. By higher secondary classes, urban parents are paying an average of 10,000 rupees extra just for tuition. And let's not even talk about the 3 to 4 lakh rupees coaching packages if your child wants to crack JEE or NEET. So, for 14 years of schooling in a premium metro setup from nursery to class 12th, including transport and basic coaching, you're looking at a baseline of around 50 lakh rupees to 70 lakh rupees minimum. And then comes college. A private engineering seat, 8 lakh rupees to 40 lakh rupees. A private medical seat, 50 lakh rupees to 1.5 crore rupees. And what if you send them abroad for undergrad? 75 lakh rupees to 1.5 crore rupees minimum. And all these numbers are for today. After 20 years, they will be almost double or even more. Vaibhav Agarwal, the CIO of Accelt Asset Management, puts it very bluntly in an article. He said for domestic education, the total cost of raising a child can hit 1.5 crore rupees today. And for abroad, that's up to 5 crore rupees. चलो अब सारे स्पेंड्स को एड अप करते हैं. Pre birth to graduation in a metro city, the number without the fancy foreign degrees is 50 lakh rupees to 2 crore rupees. And if you inflation adjust that over 20 years, that's easily 1 to 4 crore rupees. Abhishek K, an angel investor, wrote a line on his LinkedIn post which tells you the reality of today's world. I mean, that really stuck with me. In 1995, you could raise a child and buy a house. In 2025, you can only do one. And here is the part that finance geeks need to see, the opportunity cost. What if you don't spend that money on a baby? Now, I'm not going to say what if that Gurgaon couple took the monthly equivalent of raising a child in a metro city, let's say 35,000 rupees a month, and dropped it into a fund which gives 12% annual returns, even though that number would come to around 4.1 crore rupees. The couple can actually save half of it and spend the other half on themselves with a world tour, a better car, a better apartment, and a lot more. Now, it's easy to call this greedy, but these couples aren't just choosing a bank balance over a baby. They're looking at an incredibly fragile corporate environment with zero safety nets where a single layoff can basically financially ruin you. They're choosing a 4 corpus because financial independence feels like the only way to breathe in a city that is constantly suffocating you. So I'm not here to judge them. Every number we just discussed is on a receipt somewhere. But here is a massive hidden cost that primarily hits women: the career penalty. Aeon's 2024 Voice of Women study surveyed 24,000 women, that too across 560 Indian companies. Out of that, 75% of working mothers reported a career setback of 1 to 2 years after returning from maternity leave. 40% said going on leave directly hit their pay. If our Gurgaon couple earns 18 lakh rupees each and the woman takes a 2-year break, that's 36 lakh rupees in lost income and 2 increment cycles missed. If she comes back in a compromised role with no promotion, the gap it just compounds over the next decade. The career cost of one child is conservatively 1 crore rupees in lost lifetime earnings. Think about it. And why does the women take the hit? Because government employees get 15 days of paid paternity leave, while the private sector has a zero legal mandate for it. So the baby doesn't cost both parents equally. It falls mostly on one of them. Urban couples are doing this math in their apartments. They aren't just saying it out loud because society guilt trips them. Now, how is the market reacting? The market actually knows before the uncles and aunties do. As per a 2024 data report, DING populations in India are growing at 30% per year. Because of this, industries are pivoting hard. I mean, just look at the Indian pet care industry. According to a September 2025 report by IBEF, this market is already valued at over 30,400 crore rupees. And it's projected to absolutely explode to 2,10,000 crore rupees by 2032. That is a massive 20% growth rate every single year. Urban millennial couples aren't just buying baby strollers anymore. They're buying grain-free organic dog food. They aren't paying for play schools. They're actually dropping their pugs and golden retrievers at luxury pet boarding resorts. And these are actually equipped with air-conditioned suites, webcams, and swimming pools when they travel. The industry literally calls this pet humanization. The pet is not an animal anymore. The pet is the child, just much cheaper to raise. And you'll see the shift everywhere. Real estate builders in Gurgaon and Bangalore are getting more requests for massive luxury 2 BHKs with dedicated home offices rather than traditional 3 BHKs designed for kids and grandparents. And for those who think the government can just step in and fix this with schemes, South Korea spent more than $200 billion over 16 years paying couples to have babies. Their fertility rate in 2023 was 0.72, the lowest in human history. Japan is throwing money at tuition waivers and allowances. Their rate is just around 1.2. Once the urban middle class realizes that all of this math is actually broken at a structural level, a 6,000 rupees government maternity check isn't going to fix it. Back to that Gurgaon couple now. Their spreadsheet realistically shows this. Raising a child from start to graduation in a metro city, it's around 1.5 crore rupees. The career cost absorbed by one partner, around 1 crore rupees. The opportunity cost of money not compounding, around 4 crore rupees. To do it right, in a city where your rent alone is 45,000 rupees a month, raising a child requires multi-crore financial planning. Choosing to step back from it isn't selfishness, it's actually pure rational arithmetic in a system that doesn't support parents. I get it. Though I want to be very, very clear with one thing before I sign off. This spreadsheet cannot measure everything. It can't price the feeling of holding a tiny hand with just a finger. It can't calculate the 3M feeds that turn into inside jokes 20 years later. And it cannot account for the unconditional love that gives your entire life a new profound purpose. So, a baby isn't just a liability, it's a legacy and it's a part of your heart walking outside of your body. Those things are deeply real and they aren't just receipts that you can put on a spreadsheet. Here's a quick note for retail investors who are watching this. When demographics like these shift at such population scale, remember that money decisions also change. If urban India is having fewer kids and treating pets like royalty, look at the underlying businesses. If you really want to ride on this theme from a demographic point of view, make sure you track the fundamentals of pet care brands, premium veterinary services, and luxury travel. All of these verticals are expanding rapidly, while traditional mass market baby segments may actually face headwinds in these urban segments. Also, watch the shifting demand in real estate. I'm talking about the fact that premium 2 BHKs are being preferred over traditional family homes. Read the balance sheets of all of these companies. The social shift is already showing up in the revenue columns. Now, I want to leave you with a question to think about. If an economy forces its most productive generation to choose between having a family and having basic financial security, is that economy actually growing or is it just surviving on borrowed time? This is Arunima Rao signing off. See you in the next one. Until then, stay curious.